record reflect the time is 3:30 p.m. on Monday, March 9th, and I'm going to call the Redevelopment Authority for the City of Erie meeting to order. We'll start by everyone standing and reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. So please begin after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Let's start with public comment. I see some friendly faces in the audience. If anybody would wish to speak, please do so now. We're allowing 5 minutes for any public comment. So anybody wish to speak, please stand. And if you could just say your name and address for the record.
My name is Donald Crenshaw, and I live in Erie, Pennsylvania. I would like to say to the board and all those that may be on YouTube or Facebook, today is a good day. The sun's shining, opportunities of making things happen in our city. I'm very much excited about where I'm at today. I know in the years past, about 3 to 5 years, we've had several communications and encounters on different properties. But I'm here to share with the board that what we stated we were going to do a while ago has now happened. Royal Homes 2 was approved by PHFA for funding December 16th of 2022. Roughly 3 years and 2 months ago, funding was approved. But it's taken that long, as in February 6th of 2026, we closed on a 26-unit affordable housing project. So as a builder developer in our city, we're about to build 26 new homes. In this time, between December 16th, 2022 and now, we have renovated over 13 homes and sold them to low to moderate income people. Now that this development is moving forward, I look for more good things to come. But I have a concern. I do not want to be retaliated against because I'm doing what we do, and that's fixing up homes and renovating homes and training individuals. I feel that there's been somewhat of a retaliation for these past years on different properties. I received today a notice that a particular property that we own, that it is your desire to go in and enter this piece of property. I do not want anyone going into the house at all without contacting me and having dialogue. I've reached out to the different board members about who I am, what I do. For 30 years, we've been building affordable housing. I know it was questioned, emails I saw go out that I wasn't trying to circumvent the communications between your director and myself, but to get clarity and make sure that there is no retaliation or differences that him and I may have. I've reached out to the board, and I think it was perceived that I was trying to circumvent something. I've been trying to get communication. I've been trying to do what I do. Harrisburg has had confidence in me for the last 3.5 years to say, no matter what challenges you may have had, we funded your project. We know you don't get any support as others do, but we support you. When you look at the particular properties that we own, I give each and every one of you my phone number. If you don't have it, reach out, call me, contact me. I don't want to see on a screen a piece of property that's being condemned or blighted. I've said in the past, if I get code violations, everybody in this building, I think, knows who I am. We're building 26 units of housing. I'm doing the same thing that you guys are doing. Even to the point, when you say the same thing, you guys recently blighted and took a property at 2321 Cameron. I think it made you money, or at least it paid all your expenses, but the concept and the idea of what I do, I think you agree with because you're doing it. But I don't feel as a tax-paying citizen I should have to compete at the level I'm competing with the Redevelopment Authority or any other blight committee or anything else. My goal's always been the same for 30 years. This project's 30 years old. Mayor Sabacchio funded me 30 years ago to create affordable housing. I've never stopped. Have I had obstacles? Yes. Prior to the administrators of this board, we had a lot of arm wrestle because we were tearing down houses. We were renovating houses. But I come to this board today to please make sure that there is no retaliation, that people that I've communicated with, that the project was funded, that we're doing things. For 3 years, guys, you know how it's been, that you had a budget, QuickBooks, trying to get it worked out. It takes time. So work with me. Give me time. I'm not a 501c3. Every penny I put in here came out of my pocket or I borrowed it. Everybody sitting here is getting paid through the taxpayers' funds, okay? If you're getting paid. I realize that the board's not getting paid. But from where I sit, I just want to emphasize, my goal is to build affordable housing, to train individuals that look like me, because a lot of them don't get the opportunity to go out into the field and to do what we're doing. The Royal Homes Project, Mr. Scalise definitely knows, because he mimicked the 15 units of affordable housing 30 years ago. He did Midtown. It was off of the application we did for Royal, so he's quite familiar with it. But if you look at when they got ready to redo their project, and I will understand he's no longer at hands, but when that project became time to renew, there was cooperation. I haven't had that. So I just ask each and every one of you, work with me. My goal is still the same, and that's to create affordable housing, to create job opportunities. And I'll say one more thing and I'll go. There's your next generation. My son, if he puts 30 years into this community and does what we've done hundreds of affordable housing, we're going to have it made. But with what he sees I go through as that next generation, I don't know if we can keep him here. He's learned how to do it. But it's about cooperation and working together. I know we have our differences. I know there's things that I would like to see expedited quicker. But I'll say again, guys, 3 years, 2 months, it took for the prior administration to work with me to get it closed. But we did it. My actions speak louder than my words, or just as loud. And that is, we'll do everything we can do to keep things off of blight, to keep code compliance in compliance. Just reach out to me.
Right. Now, Mr. Crenshaw, you mentioned that you had a letter about a particular property. What was the address of that property?
The particular property that I received a letter from today, I watched on last week's blighted property list. It was added as an additional property. Property is 2901 East Avenue.
Okay. 2904. Okay.
Correction, 2904 East Avenue.
And then I also further understand that you have a meeting scheduled with the Redevelopment Authority and the city, the mayor, on
Yes.
that particular property?
Yes, we do.
And Aaron, what date is that meeting?
March 19th.
March 19th? Okay. So, and obviously, I mean, we appreciate you coming, we appreciate, your words. Obviously, there's a process that goes into identifying blighted properties. There's certain criteria that have to be met, and there's a process and procedure for that. That process is going to continue regardless of, any request for additional communication, additional feedback. So obviously, we are trying to respond to your concerns. We're setting up additional meetings on this particular property at 2904 East Ave. So I hope you understand and can respect that as well.
And when you say there's procedures,
Right.
I don't want to make this argument case-wise, but I'm going to say the procedures have not been followed.
And that's not us. I
Right.
mean, that's
But even to the point of a piece of property getting a notice.
Okay.
I shouldn't have to, with my reputation and things I'm doing, I shouldn't have to watch or screen and watch for properties to come up to say that we want to do a, per the letter, please be advised that the Redevelopment Authority of the City of Erie is acting pursuant to the powers of the Urban Redevelopment Law 35, Section 304, hereby provide notice. It is its intent to enter into your property located at 2904 East Avenue for inspection and appraisal purposes in the anticipation of the redevelopment, anticipating potential condemnation.
And I'm assuming that that's the standard.
Okay,
that's the
but
standard
before
letter
you get,
that goes
no,
out.
let me give you, if everybody doesn't know, the procedures are you get a code violation. If there's a problem, and I've had to address those code violations, mowing grass, I've been for the district, we did it. At the point if somebody would just picked up the phone, you say follow procedures. If there was a code violation, there wasn't one because we addressed them. Then if it goes to the next level, before it gets to here, all I'm saying is pick up the phone, we're busy. Do we want to keep, nothing against Eugene, he's doing his job. Do we want to keep paying attorney fees when all you have to do is say, hey, as the director, let's look at this piece of property? That's all I'm saying. You're right. And if I miss something, and I'm not going to say I'm perfect, and every notices that came by that I didn't miss one. But at the point of just picking up a phone and saying, let's talk about this, what are you going to do about it? Because I have had code violations on this particular property.
Right.
I met in front of the district magistrate. I told him what I was going to do, and we've done it. And then the other thing is, it took 3 years, 2 months for me to get the funding to do what I'm saying I'm going to do, and that's fix up property. This particular one, because it took so long, we're not able to come to the Redevelopment Authority and say, instead of tearing down a $100,000 home, work with us. The people who benefit are the low to moderate income people. Right. And I would ask you, as you look at your lists, I, as a builder developer, when people get into financial situations where they're not able to maybe pay the $2,000 back taxes or pay the water bill, you guys are familiar with the methodology in rehabbing, contact me. You don't have to just do me, do the entire City of Erie and say, listen, if there's anybody, before this gets any further, that we can sit down and work out an agreement, let's do it. And I know there's going to be comments that we do that with people. It's not being done with me. And that's why I said from a retaliation standpoint, me and your director talked about some things that were going to happen. And immediately after I told them we were funded, I received this. That's why I'm going down the road, I hope. And I'm not saying for sure, I know for a fact, but I hope the retaliation, when I see stuff like this, when 2 weeks prior we had conversations about fixing up houses and doing it, that I'm not getting retaliated because other properties that we've had our differences that are in the courts, I get it. But when it came to code violations, they're now fixed up, and it's not about code, it's about payment. And the court's working things out.
I'm sure that there's no instance of retaliation. My understanding on this particular property, it's been declared blighted, what, several years ago?
2023.
2023. So, I mean, we certainly respect your comments. I understand that you have a meeting scheduled March 19th. I assume that you'll be attending that meeting, and that's just going for, I guess, our additional efforts to, communicate with you on this particular matters.
And as you stated, it was blighted, let's just use your dates, 2023, right?
Right.
I had proof and documentation where we received funds to do things, but it took this long to get those.
Are you saying that this particular property is part of that package?
This
part of that
particular
portfolio?
property, the information was shared that we received dollars to either fix it up or tear it down. No different than what you guys did on 14th and State. You
Well-
received funds to fix up a house or tear it down.
Yeah, if that's the case, then I think come March 19th, at that meeting, that's something that certainly would be discussed. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, please.
And I totally agree with you. And all I'm saying is, I shouldn't have to be here. You shouldn't have to send out letters. If we communicate and you say, Mr. Crenshaw has a letter showing that he has funds to address this, let's talk about a time period and let's move forward together, not separately. That's what my main concern is today, when we can show proof that we have funding for projects that I don't end up having to fight legally or any otherwise to keep property so that we renovate it. One of the properties, the development that I just mentioned,
Yep.
we're developing it. So
Okay.
if anything right there in that area needs to be developed, it took them 3 years. It didn't take them. It took us 3 years, the city, to allow this to go forward. We should be communicating and saying, what's the status? We don't want to spend taxpayer money having to take legal actions against me, which if I have funds to fight with, and we're going to try to make home ownership, we've spent, you guys, through Mr. Eugene and myself, $30,000, $40,000 fighting, when let's work together is all I'm
Right.
saying. Let's stop the
Okay.
fight.
Yep, appreciate it.
All righty?
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you for your time.
Is there any other public comment at this time? Hearing none, we'll move forward. Do I have an approval, or a motion on the floor to approve the agenda for today?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Do I have an approval of the minutes from the last meeting, February 19th, February 9th? Do I have a motion on the floor to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. On to the finance report.
Thank you. So your first page should be the profit and loss. That shows, or it's also called the statement of activity. So this looks a little bit cleaned up now that we've polished up the chart of accounts that were getting a little out of control. So the income is broken down now where we have the interest income, grant reimbursement revenue. So in that figure that was just under 61,000 is the Erie Land Bank requests and Erie County Department of Planning, NPA state-led. Then LHRD, we have not done a requisition yet this year for that, so that's showing 0. Fee-for-service revenue is the county projects that we get reimbursed a delivery fee for, fee-for-service, and also HACE. And then the admin fee revenue is just small amounts collected when we do administrative functions such as mortgage satisfactions for people that prefer to pay us to do that and take it over to the courthouse for them. So, net revenue is negative $300,000. That is accurate. I have not done any major requisitions yet. So, for this year, we've still been processing payments as normal for our contractors. But yeah, a lot of the big reimbursements that we would get back for projects have not been done yet.
Is that, I guess, typical for this time of year?
It is. So January is tax time, so 1099s to contractors and W-2s for our employees. And then we started with audit requests. Actually, both of our audits are going on right now. So we've been trying to get them all of the information that they're requesting, and then this gets put to the back burner for now, so we will catch up.
Okay.
Then the statement of financial position, that's our balance sheet. It shows our net position as of February 28th. Our total for our bank accounts right now is just under 5.5 million. The accounts receivable, we were awaiting payments from the Housing Authority, Pennsylvania State-led, and the Erie Land Bank. I do have on it's actually page 3 of 4, toward the bottom where you were asking about the opening balance equity and the retained earnings. So those were prior period audit adjustments that the auditors had given us year over year, so since 2022, and they were posted to the opening balance instead of retained earnings. So I have a question out to our current auditors to see, essentially those should be netted together, I think. So I'm waiting to get approval to reclassify that, and that happens to be good timing because he's started our audit for Grace. And then the next one is the budget versus actuals. Not too exciting yet, because there hasn't been much going on just for the beginning of the year, but our total revenue is only 1.37% of what our budget should be, and then expenses are a little under 6%. And then I also have the check detail report, so there were quite a few checks written in February.
Any questions from the board? Okay. Do I have a motion on the floor to approve the financials pending audit?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, can I
Yep.
make a clarification?
Oh,
It's a
sure.
motion to accept.
Motion to accept?
Not a-
Okay, sorry. With that clarification noted, they are accepted. Okay, so then now moving on to the executive director, solicitor's report, Gene.
Good afternoon, Board. It's nice to see you in a sunshiny day. You have within your packet my memorandum with regard to the status. Importantly, you'll see number one, there's two closings that are going to happen later this week. On Thursday, again, I want to give a shout out to Aaron and his crew in working with my real estate department to help get all of the documentation in order and to get these transactions concluded. Again, reaffirmation that what we're doing is the proper procedure to get properties back onto the tax roll. So those are going to close on Thursday. Number two is still pending, so there is no update with regard to item number three, or I'm sorry, item number two. Item three, that's that parcel on the corner, and it's the northwest corner of 9th and Cherry. That subdivision process is still going through. The subdivision, the survey process has been paid for by those property owners, so when everything is finalized, we'll be able to do a meets and bounds description and convey those, portion off those properties to the adjoining property owners. So I've been in contact with them to put them at ease that we're getting that.
Do we have any timeline for that?
You know what, I would think that we probably would have that finalized within the next 30 days.
Okay,
So hopefully by this time next month, we'll have that closing and conveyance of those properties. It's taken a while for us to jump through all the subdivision process here in the city of Erie. Doesn't happen a whole lot, so that's why it's taken a little bit of time.
it's already gone through the process.
It's
So you think a
it-
closing in 30 days? is-
Correct.
Okay,
So we're looking to finalize that for those adjoining property owners, which will be a nice thing for everybody. 711 West 18th Street, that's a transaction that has been in process for quite some time. Again, I'll refer to it as, it's in the heart of Little Italy, and we were working with the property owner who kind of just went off the grid. So I was trying to drag everybody's feet to the fire, and was in front of Judge Piccinini, and he has directed that the Board of View be scheduled, with or without the involvement of whomever might be on that other end. There are a couple of attorneys that are counseling that gentleman, so I'm hopeful that will get resolved here within the next 30 to 60 days and finalized. And what part of that process was to pay the funds into court so that it's there as additional motivation for this party to work with us to get this done. So we're making that happen, and again, I would suspect that we would have that resolved and addressed within 30, no more than 60 days. Then the item number 5, the last one, those are the properties where we've started to order the title search, find out what the status is with those properties so that we can then make a determination and a collective analysis on how best to proceed. So that has started. Title searches are on my desk, started reviewing them this weekend. So we're fast tracking and streamlining that process. So with that, that's the extent of my report. And what I wanted to also indicate too is that a lot of times in the board, the board was advised and appreciated. There are times when I'm getting deeds in lieu of condemnation. So I'm going to ask my staff to itemize those as well so that the board knows, okay, not only are we going through full condemnation actions, but there are deeds in lieu. That's a quicker turnaround, very time sensitive, turning around in fast order, and very inexpensive, quite frankly. So I'll provide the board with a list of those so that you see not only the long process that's involved, but how we've been able to shortcut that as well. And there's probably been 4 or 5 of those within the past 60 days.
And then with those deeds in lieu, you're not going through the formal condemnation process, so there's no divestiture of liens. So you're just making sure from a title perspective that those properties are all clear.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
So I'm having the title search done, reviewing it, finding out that, hey, look, there aren't any liens and encumbrances on it, or there's issues that we can resolve. And so writing them and inviting them, hey, look, do you want to be done with this? Here's a deed in lieu of foreclosure. They
Right.
contact me, come in and get that done, and then we're able to tidy them up and get them back onto the market for,
Yeah, that'd be helpful information to have.
yeah, I will have that for the board.
Thank you. Any questions for Gene from the board? Hearing none. Thank you, Gene.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Aaron, general updates and information.
All right, it's been a busy month, to say the least. So back after our February board meeting, the week of February 16th, I attended the PARA Legislative Summit in Harrisburg, which came at a good time with the release of the state of Pennsylvania's first ever housing action plan. So it was good to have conversations with representatives from DECD, PHFA, and legislators from the state regarding the housing action plan and plans moving forward. On February 23rd, I met with Craig Palmer, Erie Waterworks, to try to improve our working relationship with the Water Authority regarding rehabilitation information when it comes to client information on our property acquisition side to help extinguish and dissolve liens, past due bills and such, just so we can help try to mitigate as much of our administrative burden that goes into these properties as possible. So I have another meeting scheduled with him in a couple weeks to follow up on some of those. I met with Laura Gutchin for ECAT to discuss a concept of salvaging architectural features, furniture from blighted properties prior to demolition, working with the ECAT students to remove those items. I have a meeting tomorrow with Habitat for Humanity as a potential partnership for ECAT to basically market those items at Habitat's Restore. Certainly Erie doesn't have architectural salvage and repurpose store or entity that provides that service. We have, Buffalo, Cleveland, Pittsburgh all have those type of places, but we don't. So it's a way to hopefully try to mitigate some of the waste that's going to the landfills from these blighted properties. March 3rd, participated in a meeting with Holly at the Erie County Department of Health that she pulled together with their individuals related to lead poisoning and the work that they're doing. But we had Build CDC and UPMC Health Plan there to kind of discuss and work through idea sharing, resource sharing as other grants and NOFAs come out. We're positioned to have the resources in place to go after Healthy Homes, technical study grants, and other health-related grants associated with housing. March 4th, that evening we hosted Land Banking, 20 Years of Crisis and Opportunity from Flint to Erie. We brought in Michael Freeman from the Genesee County Land Bank and had an airing of their documentary, which is available on YouTube. So anybody's free to watch it, but it was a good conversation with civic leaders, local elected officials, and the like in the room to talk about land banking and certainly the struggles that we have. March 5th, traveled to Pittsburgh with representatives from the Erie area to tour Module and the modular home manufacturing process down at Pittsburgh and what that could potentially bring to the Erie market. And then on March 6th, attended a meeting of local housing individuals to put together a legislative breakfast in Erie to invite elected officials to have kind of a unified voice when it comes to housing across all the different entities that are in that. So definitely reserve May 14th on your calendar in that morning. More details will come, but tentatively save the date for May 14th. So, and then one last thing on March 6th, which was last Friday, I met with Suzanne Faulkner, Erie Arts and Culture. I had an idea, we spend a lot of time and a lot of money boarding up properties, and certainly when you drive across the Erie area, plywood's not very attractive. And so working with her, we're hoping to create an initiative for artists, students to paint plywood that will then be utilized to board up our properties so we can hopefully bring some kind of blight back, or some bright back to a blighted neighborhood that has been enduring that blight for some time. So more to come on that. She's meeting with her board, and we'll have that conversation coming down. So, but certainly housing action plan, the housing accelerator, and then today PHFA released their fair building opportunity, fair funding trends, and county profiles for 2022 through 2024. So I'll email all that out to the board for your review if you're a nerd like me and want to read that. So that's my report.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
Thank you.
Hearing none.
Appreciate receiving the written report. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Unfinished and new business, race fund investment discussion. Aaron, you want to lead that?
Yeah, so on March 3rd, I met with Matt Orton, who owns Lease Erie LLC. He had owned for some time 1013 State Street. He was able to purchase essentially through nuisance bar and blight 1015 State Street. Now he has complete site control and is looking to advance the development of that building. For some time, like I said, it's a building, a single structure that has essentially been parceled into for an unknown determined amount of time. But now with complete site control, he has the ability to renovate the second and third floors of that building into residential units is his hope. But the discussion really is in three phases. He's currently renovating the first floor, the former Docksiders, into another establishment and working on that. And then phase two, working with Matthew Falcone from the Historic Preservation Planner, working on the facade of that building and trying to get and leverage some historic preservation funding to remediate the historical value within the front of that building and hopefully go toward a historic designation. And then the third phase, which certainly is down our road, is the development and build out of residential units on the second and third floor of that. Certainly, I haven't been inside that building. Matthew was, and he says it looks as if back in the early 1900s they shut the door, locked it, and never went back upstairs. So it's got some promise and some possibility. But what I'm bringing forth to the board for discussion is that in order to make all that happen, phase one needs a loan to finish out the build out. And Mr. Orton approached me. I reached out to multiple different individuals across the Erie region to see what kind of loan funding was available. But given our conversation February 20th regarding loans and investments for the Redevelopment Authority, we do have some funding that could potentially be made available for a loan to Lease Erie LLC to facilitate an expedited build out of the bar and allow us to move on to phase two and phase three quicker than we would if he had to self-fund the project and move through that. So he's certainly open to discussion. He did not demand any specific terms. He's just looking for access to capital to make the renovation of that build out happen sooner rather than later.
And would any loan from us, would that be conditioned upon, like, the residential units being put in place, or would it be just like unrestricted, like just toward the build-out?
I guess my initial thought was, certainly toward phase one, the build out, with then allowing us to move into potentially restructuring that loan toward the residential build out.
Okay,
Because right now, in the condition of the building, he's unable to secure essentially other capital or other loans on the project because of its condition on the second and third floor.
right. Okay. And at this point, there's no formal resolution, it's just,
No, there's nothing, and certainly everything is on the table. Certainly on the back of that form, at the bottom, there's a proposed motion if the board so desires, but certainly it's up for discussion and that for the board and guidance as far as moving forward and what, possibilities there may or may not be there. So based, certainly at the will of the board.
any questions from the board?
Just a couple of thoughts. One is, I get a little concerned about the safety of the loan in terms of what happens if the developer doesn't proceed. That's our reserve money. We don't have a lot of reserve money, so I'm really concerned about investing anything in a venture like this because, we really don't have a reserve right now. We're trying to build one, so that's one thing. And the other thing is that I think that we're more geared towards residential real estate, and shouldn't the Erie County Redevelopment Authority be considering loans for commercial entities? So we can, just trying to make sure we're staying in our lane.
I reached out to them, and as far as I'm aware, they have not responded.
Okay. And the city's flagship fund or any of
It
those
is
things?
closed right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I reached out to the Erie County Redevelopment Authority, Erie Downtown Development Corporation, Erie Downtown Partnership. I believe that was it, is regarding his request and his seeking of funds to try to see if we could connect some different partners to this and help him out so we could get to the residential. But like I said, that was last week, and I haven't heard back to date. So.
And we don't, in terms of numbers, there's been no numbers that have floated around, or?
As far as a loan amount?
Yeah.
Up to $250,000.
Up to 250.
They're currently on the property, do you know?
There is a mortgage on the property. The amount, I'm unsure. It was the amount to purchase the 1015 side.
Is it cross-collateralized both parcels? Do we know or not know?
I do not recall.
Okay.
He did talk through a lot of business structure
Right.
during our meeting, but I did not dictate that entire conversation, so I don't recall.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? All right. I guess comfort level from the board in terms of the proposed resolution, it looks like it's to enter into discussions and negotiate potential loan terms. Maybe it's premature to have a resolution. Why don't we, continue the dialogue, continue the discussion, and see if we can get some additional information. In particular, I'd be curious about, kind of the status of that mortgage loan, if it's covering both parcels or just one of the parcels. To Chuck's point, we don't have a lot of money just to loan it out without making sure that there's sufficient collateral. So let's proceed along that course, Aaron.
All right, that's what we agreed. That'll work.
Okay.
All right, moving on to funding investment options. April, do you want to kind of talk through? We didn't get a lot of information back from Erie Bank, so I guess I'll let April.
They were limited in what they're able to give us over the phone without having an in-person meeting there with one of the investors. But we did get some CD rates for, I think, the 7-month, which is an odd term to me, but that was 3.4%. And then there was an 18-month that's 3.3, and those were pretty much the only two options they gave me that they would quote over the phone.
Is there a plan for, I guess, next steps, like meeting?
Yeah, I think we have to get them to bring in their main financial advisor and talk more
Right.
through potential CD ladder investment or something like that.
Right. And then also, if we were going to potentially consider loaning out as like a construction loan for housing instead of investing in a CD. So we will have a couple different possibilities to run by you.
Right. Any questions? Well, we appreciate the reach out, and then, I guess, continue dialogue and discussion on that point. You know, once we get some additional information, and in particular, yeah, if we're looking at, you know, any of these or any of the funds that we're potentially considering, you know, for loan purposes, understanding how we can pull those those funds out, what strings may be attached, that would be helpful to know as well. Anything further?
I have nothing else under.
Okay. I know that we did have a closed session meeting for the summit on February 20th, and essentially all that meeting was it was mainly directed for personnel matters, in particular to discuss goals, milestones, metrics associated with compensation. So I just wanted to disclose that in the meeting. Is there any other business to attend to?
Mr. Chair, could I request upon adjournment an executive session for personnel matters?
Okay, certainly, yeah. Would that be something today?
Today.
Okay, sure. So I guess following the meeting, we will go into executive session to discuss personnel matters. Is there any other business to attend to? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor? Sorry, I'm just going off. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We are adjourned.
Gene, are you available?